MetroNews Talkline continues. Upper Rotunda, the West Virginia State Capitol, AARP broadcast location. The WVU Medicine Transplant Alliance exists because of one extraordinary act, the gift of an organ. Each heart and kidney transplant represents a donor's legacy, a gift powerful enough to turn imminent loss into renewed life. Our dedicated transplant team honors that gift with expert, compassionate care before, during, and long after the transplant. Learn more about organ donation and the life it creates at registerme.org/WVU Medicine. Joining us here at the AARP broadcast location, Kanawha County Delegate Kayla Young. Good to see you, Kayla. How you been?
Good to see you guys. Good. We got, 2.5 weeks left?
2.5 weeks
Sounds
left.
weeks-ish.
And you never know what you're going to see. Add to that list, you and TJ comparing boots today.
Yeah.
I think you win, though.
Oh, she
I
wins.
hope so. Crazy snakeskin boots. We got to liven it up around here.
When are you going to get some snakeskin boots, man?
We kind of are.
I don't know. I mean,
Come on.
I'm more of just a traditional kind of guy, but I got a couple pairs of these. But yeah, maybe I'm obviously not pulling the. Jeez, yeah, great boots. Great
That's all right.
All right. Yesterday, over in the House, the budget was presented. A couple of things I wanted to talk to you about. You asked Chairman Vernon Chris, chair of the House Finance Committee, is this a responsible budget, or how would you describe the budget? He said responsible, and you agreed. Why?
I do think it's a responsible budget. Since I've been here, since 2021, it's been a flat budget. Then last year it was a skinny budget when we had the whole debacle over the maybe $400 million hole that we never really seemed to find. And then this year, our budget it's less than the governor's budget. It's less than the Senate's budget. I know we have a lot of big money problems coming with a lot of the cuts we've been making without bringing in a lot of excess revenue. So I'm concerned about that in the future. So I think it's good to kind of not overspend right now, not get out over our skis.
What level of comfort or discomfort, I should say, did you have with the governor's version and the Senate's version that put Medicaid in the rear, in surplus to fund, or Hope Scholarship? I mean, that has to concern you, I would imagine.
It is concerning, and I'm concerned about Medicaid generally and the SNAP stuff with the cuts coming that we know are coming federally from the big bill that we have no control over, but we have to fund. The feds are shifting a lot of finances to states, and we are not prepared to pay for those things. So I'm incredibly concerned about that. And then the Hope stuff is just, it's all over the place, and it's wild, and the budgets are so vastly different. And then talking about the payment schedules and whether it's 1 year or 2 years, it's the Hope stuff's all over the place, and it sounds like it's still really up in the air.
What would you have liked to have seen in this budget that did not make it into this version?
I do wish there would have been more funding for Medicaid in this budget. I wish there would have been flood money in this budget, which we did get in an amendment, which was so exciting. I'm so excited about that. I would have liked to see some more money for child care in this budget, of course. But generally, I would say this is one of the better budgets I've seen.
We just spoke with Dr. Rohrbach, House Finance. He joined us for a few moments. He told us there still could be monies out there in this budget when it comes to school aid formula and helping fix that. Are you hearing the same?
Yes, I am. So that was something I just thought of after you asked me. The school aid formula is something that we're going to have a bill. I think it's like $200 million we're going to have to figure out that wasn't accounted for in this budget. I think Delegate Williams might have asked that on the floor, but that's school aid formula I think is really confusing for folks. And we had that RAND report before session started that said all the things that we need to do to update our school aid formula to be like most other states, really. So the House is working on a bill to do that. That's a really big lift to change how schools are funded entirely, and then we got to find the money to do it. So I'm hopeful we'll get something done, but that's $200 million. That's not nothing.
Talking to Delegate Kayla Young, Kanawha County Democrat. The amendment you mentioned was offered up by Delegate Sean Hornbuckle.
Yeah.
I said Fluharty. I get my Sean's. But it was $25 million for the Flood Resiliency Fund, which was created and had never had any money put into it.
Yeah, created a few years ago. We've had a state flood plan, since 2004. Then we redid the state flood plan in 2024, and it was largely the same as the one 20 years prior. I serve on the State Resiliency Office Board as the member from the House, and it's constantly that we need more money for flood resiliency, mitigation, hazard preparedness, all the all things flood that we know impact everyone. And having never put money into it, I think that was without a doubt the biggest win yesterday. And it was a massive bipartisan effort to get that money in the budget. So I hope it stays in the budget.
Kayla, I do want to talk about hope a bit because it is a large part of the
absolutely.
budget. A lot of money. We started talking yesterday. We were hearing no changes except moving to 4 quarterly payments to help the state with cash flow instead of 2. Doc Rohrbach, again, just on confirmed that. So that's what the bill is. And House Finance, they wouldn't be running it if they didn't have agreement, I would think, on that. How does that strike? Well, you never know. How does that strike you? Is that a good deal moving forward, or would you have liked to have seen something different?
I mean, I'd like to see more. I think that's fine. I don't know why. I don't know if that needs to be in code or if that's just a procedure for Hope that they can just change how they pay it. I don't know why we wouldn't have done that from the get-go.
I think
really.
It is in code, believe it or not.
It might be, because otherwise why would they be doing this? So,
Yeah.
I mean, I think that part's fine. I don't know that it has a nominal effect on the program at all. And it seems, I mean, from the RAND report that we got and just also the mass amount of money that this entitlement program costs, we're going to have to figure out something. I would like to see more guardrails. I'd like the money to be spent in West Virginia. I'd like it to be spent. I don't know why there's not an income cap like a lot of other red states have. I think we need to rein it in some.
It's not the most outlandish concept. You look at the other states that have either education savings accounts or school vouchers. Most of them have some sort of kind of guardrails, whether it's prioritizing special needs or it's a lower income gets priority over higher income. It kind of rolls through. I don't think it's outlandish. Every other government-funded spending program that we have has some sorts of guardrails.
Absolutely.
I haven't heard a great argument why this one has to be unique.
No, I haven't heard that either. And I mean, I think about states that have been doing voucher programs and that have been in the news. We think about Texas. We think about Tennessee. I don't know that anyone's calling those liberal states, right? They're very conservative states. And these are the fights that they're seeing, too, about putting in guardrails. I don't know why we can't have guardrails. But Hope families seem to take this as like a massive attack, that they don't want any changes at all. And I can see why they don't want any changes. This program, taking it away from people, is not going to be popular at all.
But is
I
it
think
all
needs
Hope
some
families? Because I haven't heard anything from people that use this for private or parochial schools. I didn't hear a pushback from them. Maybe I missed it.
You mean it's just, who do you think it is? Homeschool
I've heard
people?
mostly people from homeschoolers that use it objecting.
I haven't necessarily seen people saying where they're coming from, just that they use the program. But that could be the case. Absolutely, that could be the case. And now it's about to get ready to expand and potentially double in size this next fiscal year. So, I don't know if it's private or parochial. I do think there was a statement that it was like 90% of the people who use it presently would have already gone to those private schools, which means that, do they need it? Does it help? Absolutely. And everybody needs help with affordability. But if they're already going to go to those schools, why are we the ones funding it?
I understand. We're talking to Kayla Young, Kanawha County Delegate. I understand the apprehension. If you are a Hope Scholar family, and you're thriving, your kids are now thriving, and you're using that, and you're able to get tutors. And totally understand the apprehension when lawmakers start changing things. You don't know what's going to happen.
I get that too.
I get that, but I also see the argument that someone, I hate to use this analogy because we use it so often, it's very crass, but it's like porn. You know it when you see it, right?
Sure.
So when you see, okay, I know that guy, I know their job, they're getting Hope Scholarship, that's what makes me give pause and go, okay, we can talk about some guardrails here, because there's the difference between the people that I think this is intended to help, who may not have that opportunity otherwise, and the folks who are going to do it anyway. I totally get this conversation.
Yeah, but if we want to help those people, or at least prioritize those people, maybe we just put in that we prioritize those people. And there's ways to do that in language, that there's income cap levels, or there's ways to just prioritize that certain people jump to the front of the line that are lower income. And we don't have to look at the cars people are driving or the clothes they're wearing. We can look at their income.
One of the things I struggle with, and I'm going to show my ignorance here and admit my ignorance to you, it's about the state money. It's about the state. It's not the federal fund. It's not the local levy fund. It's about the state money. My understanding is, for years and years, if a child went to a private or parochial school, that money, the counties didn't get it. It came back to the state. I guess where I struggle with this, we have an obligation for a thorough and efficient education in West Virginia. So you have to plan for that obligation no matter what school the kid. So the money's got to be somewhere, right? I mean, what am I missing here? That's what I don't understand about this debate. You
Right.
get what
No,
I'm
I
saying?
completely agree. And it's like if you're in a class with 30 kids and 10 of them leave to go to private school, you've still got to keep the lights on. You've still got to pay the teachers. The overhead doesn't change on the big things. Little things, sure, you need a couple less supplies, but the big stuff still is there.
Yes, it's a formula of funding allocation per student, but that's not the way the districts operate. They operate on the total, and that's what makes up the difference.
Right, which is, and I don't like super get in the weeds on that either.
Sure.
I don't know, and I will contend that public schools aren't perfect, and I can understand that private or parochial or homeschool is a great option for a lot of people and is better for people. I just don't know that the state should be funding that for everyone, especially people that can already afford it. Like you said, we've got guardrails on every other entitlement program. Why should this one be any different?
I just think we should be able to have the conversation without people losing. Let me rephrase it. Should be able to have the conversation without special interest groups losing their mind over it.
I think so, yeah. And there's a lot of emotion, and I understand why, but we should all be able to set that aside for a minute to have realistic conversations about being fiscally responsible. That's our job.
What this bill is going to do, how often did we hear in the last, week and a half, something, let's wait until we get more numbers. Wait until next year when we have new numbers. That's what this bill does. So this isn't going away. This is going to be back next year, whether people like it or not. And, I'm not sure that compromise, and there's a lot of give and take in either direction. And people are dug in, and you're not going to get solution if people are so dug in that you can't compromise and work something out.
Well, if nobody's willing to try, absolutely, you're not going to get any compromise. And I don't really like the argument of saying, like, we heard before session, like, it's actually, we thought it was going to cost $300 million, now it's only going to cost $230. Those are all based on estimates. We have no clue how many people are actually going to use it. But we have to set aside the funding regardless. This bill that is a compromise, it's not going to actually change really anything. The payment schedule, fine, but what does that tangibly change? I don't think much.
Well, we've got bipartisan amendments over in the House. Dare I say you guys are borderline functional over there. That's what I've said the last couple of days.
I would say more functional than our friends across the hall, but the bar is low.
Delegate Kayla Young, Kanawha County, always a pleasure. Thank you for coming by.
Thanks for having me. See you soon.
Yep. Got to take a break. We'll get in some text. Brad McElwain, he says they are taking up that Hope bill as we speak in House Finance. We'll get an update.